You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 4th of July. PM Modi's visit to Trinidad and Tobago highlights Indian cultural connection. As Pakistan takes over UNSC presidency, activists say accused handed the gavel. And Russia becomes first country to recognize Afghanistan's Taliban government. And now for all the details. After concluding a historic visit to West African nation of Ghana, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday arrived in Trinidad and Tobago for an official visit to the Caribbean nation. In a rare and significant gesture, PM Modi was warmly welcomed at the airport by Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bissessar, along with her cabinet ministers. He was accorded a ceremonial guard of honor at the airport, followed by cultural performances, including a Bhojpuri Chautal, highlighting the deep cultural connections between both countries. Along with his counterpart Persad, the Indian Prime Minister later in the day also addressed a community diaspora event, where he announced the distribution of OCI cards to the sixth generation of the Indian diaspora in the country. In his address, Modi celebrated the 180-year journey of the Indian diaspora, descendants of the indentured laborers from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and called them as the living bridge between the two nations. A key announcement during the event was India's initiative to create a comprehensive database of the Girmitiya community, aimed at preserving the history and connecting the Indian diaspora across the Caribbean. Almost 45% of the country's population trace their roots to India, including Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bissessar tracing her roots to India's Bihar.
With hope. They met problems with persistence. They left the Ganga and Yamuna behind, but carried the Ramayana in their hearts. They left their soil, but not their soul. They were not just migrants. They were messengers of a timeless civilization. Their contributions have benefited this country culturally, economically, and spiritually. Just look at the impact that you have all had on this beautiful nation.
Prime Minister Modi's itinerary in Trinidad and Tobago is packed with significant engagements. He was scheduled to pay a courtesy call on President Christine Carla Kangalu on Friday, followed by a historic address to a joint sitting of the Trinidad and Tobago Parliament. He will then emplane for Argentina. He is also scheduled to visit Brazil for the BRICS summit and later Namibia for a state visit. This tour, one of PM Modi's longest diplomatic engagements in over a decade, focuses on amplifying the Global South's voice in global governance. And the famous Hindu pilgrimage of Amarnath began in India's Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday, 2 months after the deadly Pahalgam terror attack. On 22nd of April, armed terrorists entered Kashmir's Pahalgam and killed 25 tourists and 1 local pony handler. The attack sparked heavy military conflict between the nuclear-armed India and Pakistan in the latest escalation of a decades-old rivalry, as New Delhi blamed it on Islamabad, which denied responsibility. Jammu and Kashmir's economy is primarily dependent on the tourism industry, which was badly hit in the wake of the attack. Pahalgam is the traditional base camp for the Amarnath Yatra.
अमरनाथ जी की यात्रा के प्रथम तबक्के में भगवान भोलेनाथ के दर्शन करने के लिए जा रहे हैं। हमको आतंकवाद से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। हम नहीं डरेंगे और अमरनाथ जी की यात्रा सफलतापूर्वक पूर्ण करेंगे।
यहाँ का सिस्टम काफ़ी अच्छा है, बिना डॉक्यूमेंटेशन किए हुए, बिना आईडी कार्ड के किसी को अंदर नहीं जा रहे दे रहे हैं, जिससे कि हम नागरिकों की ही सुरक्षा है, सुरक्षा का अच्छा इंतज़ाम किया गया है। लगता है कि सबकी यात्रा इस बार मंगलमय रहेगी।
Every year, thousands of pilgrims trek through treacherous mountains in Kashmir along icy streams, glacier-flooded lakes, and frozen passes to reach the Amarnath cave, located at an altitude of 12,700 feet. The pilgrimage has been attacked repeatedly by terror groups, the last time in 2017, when 8 pilgrims were killed in an ambush. The pilgrimage this year will continue till 9th of August.
है कि जो अटैक वगैरह हो रहे थे वो ना हो, सब अच्छे से रहे, सब लोगों को दर्शन अच्छे से मिले, उनका भी अच्छा हो, उनके भी प्रॉफिट हो, हमें भी दर्शन हो, सबका अच्छा ही हो, यही है।
हम यहाँ पे शांति चाहते हैं, खुशी का माहौल रहना, खुशी का माहौल रहेगा तो अच्छा रहेगा सर। शुक्र अल्लाह का, लाख लाख शुक्र है, पहले अल्लाह का है, लाख लाख शुक्र, फिर हम शुक्र अल्लाह का करते हैं। यात्रा लोग आते हैं, टूरिस्ट लोग आते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे धंधा चलता है सर।
And as Pakistan's tenure began as the president of the United Nations Security Council from 1st of July, activists have denounced the development, calling it as a profound affront to global human rights. In a statement, Shafi Burfat, chairman of Sindh advocacy group JSMM, said the act of granting the presidency to Islamabad is equivalent to the murder of global justice and fundamental principles. He said, instead of bringing Pakistan before the International Court of Justice for trampling of human rights and continued patronage and export of terrorism, it has been rewarded with a symbolic and prestigious position within a responsible global institution like the United Nations. He highlighted the sheltering of globally designated terrorists like Osama bin Laden, Hafiz Saeed, and Masood Azhar, and said Pakistan not only trains and arms terrorist groups, but also provides them with safe havens, logistical support, and state patronage. Granting such a regime a leadership position in the UNSC is a grave insult to the principles of human rights, justice, and democracy, Burfat said. Echoing similar sentiments, Baloch pro-independence leader Hirbair Murray also raised concern about Pakistan presiding over the UNSC. Murray said the country, which is involved in war crimes in occupied Balochistan, which has openly threatened the world by exporting terrorism and jihad, is now lecturing on peace, stability, and peaceful conflict resolutions. When the accused are handed the gavel, international credibility erodes. Accountability must never be replaced with privilege, Murray said. A non-permanent member, Pakistan is currently having the 8th term at the Global Forum till 2026 and has assumed the rotating monthly presidency for the month of July. Moving on, Afghan national Kimia spends her days sketching women in a guest house in Pakistan's Islamabad. She fled Afghanistan in 2024 after being accepted onto a German humanitarian admission program. A year later, she's still stuck in limbo. We have a report.
In a guest house in Pakistan's capital, 25-year-old Kimia spends her days sketching women. Kimia is a visual artist and women's rights advocate who fled Afghanistan in 2024 after being accepted onto a German humanitarian admission program for Afghans considered at risk under the Taliban. However, a year later in Islamabad, Kimia remains stuck in limbo. Her interview at the German embassy was abruptly cancelled in April, and she says returning to Afghanistan is unthinkable.
We don't have any update, so we're scared that if they don't accept us or if they reject us, so we must go Afghanistan, and it's hard for all of us because the situation of Afghanistan for girls and women is too much hard.
The German humanitarian admission program began in October 2022. It intended to accept up to 1,000 Afghans per month who were deemed at risk because of their work in human rights, justice, politics, or education, or due to their gender, religion, or sexual orientation. But fewer than 1,600 arrived in over 2 years due to holdups and the cancellation of flights. Following an election in February 2025, a change of government resulted in the gradual suspension of the program. Now, the new center-right coalition intends to close it. Around 2,400 Afghans are waiting to travel to Germany, according to the Foreign Ministry. While the ministry says the government will care for those and house those already in the program, it did not answer Reuters' questions on the number of cancelled interviews or how long the suspension would last. Mohammed Mojib Rezai, a refugee, flew to Germany from Cyprus in March under a European Union voluntary solidarity mechanism. 2 weeks after seeking asylum in Berlin, his application was rejected.
I feel really exhausted because I've been waiting to get a status since 2022 because I came to Cyprus and that's one of the European Union countries. And since that time, I don't have any specific status or a residence permit or work permit to be as a citizen.
Rezai is stuck in a similar situation to Kimia and says returning to Afghanistan is not an option.
In a bold step, Russia has become the first nation to recognize the Taliban-led government after accepting the credentials of a new ambassador of Afghanistan on Thursday. This move by Russia is being seen as a major milestone for the Taliban administration as it seeks to ease its international isolation. Russia's foreign ministry in a statement said that it saw good prospects to develop ties with Kabul and would continue to support the country in security, counter-terrorism and combating drug crime. Taliban's foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi welcomed the step by Moscow and said that the move will serve as an example for others. Earlier, as tensions between Iran and Israel rose, Afghanistan turned to Russia for some food supply, including the supply for wheat. Taliban had seized power in Afghanistan in 2021 after the US withdrew its forces from the region. Except Russia, no other country formally recognizes the Taliban government, though countries like China, UAE, Uzbekistan and Pakistan have their ambassadors in Kabul. The move is likely to be closely watched by Washington, which has frozen billions in Afghan central bank assets and enforced sanctions on some senior Taliban leaders.
د روسیې فدراسیون په شمول غنو هیوادونو د موږ سفیران قبول کړو دا چې اوس د رسمیت پیژندنې لړۍ هم شروع شوه او په دې کې روسیې هیواد تر ټولو وړاندې شو نو امید چې همدا سلسله به هم همداسې په مخ ولاړه شي موږ د دې هرکلی کوو دا یو ډېر مثبت اقدام بولو له دې سره به د موږ او د روسیې فدراسیون تر مابین اړیکې نورې هم پراخې شي او ښې لاسته راوړنې به ولرو.
And indicating the extradition of former Bangladesh Prime Minister who is currently in India in self-imposed exile, Foreign Affairs Advisor to Bangladesh's interim government, Mohammad Tawheed Hussain, on Thursday said that they have sent a letter to India requesting the same and noted that the necessary follow-ups would also be made in this regard. Earlier on Wednesday, the International Crimes Tribunal, a Bangladeshi court designated for the trial of international crimes, sentenced Hasina to 6 months in prison in a contempt of court case. The formal charges stated that Sheikh Hasina was the mastermind behind inhuman acts such as crimes against humanity, murders, and the burning of bodies across the country during the movement to overthrow her government in 2024. After a student-led uprising last year, Sheikh Hasina flew to India on August 5th. After her fall, an interim government was formed under the leadership of Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus. Elections in Bangladesh are slated to be held in the first half of April 2026. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.